take a look at this poem. You might recognize it from a song that you've heard if you're old enough, and you'll notice that there's a specific pattern to the word choice. The words you choose are going to be from Thanatopsis, or they're going to be about Thanatopsis to show your comprehension and give you an opportunity to have some philosophical reflection about what you just learned. So let's take a look at what the writer did here. Turn the lights out now. So the first line starts off just kind of a sentence, ends with now, but the second line begins with the word now. And so you'll see this pattern throughout the entire thing. Now I'll take you by the hand you another drink, drink if you can you spend a little time, time is slipping away from us, so stay with me, I can make you glad you came. So when they were writing it, looks pretty straightforward. They picked words like now, hand, drink, can, time, stay, make, and they ended with came. So they would have picked out all those words and then gone line by line. So we're going to do exactly the same thing, only you're going to have something that you're trying to accomplish by using words that you either select from the poem Thanatopsis or about the meaning of Thanatopsis. So that would be step 1. Pick 10 words that have to relate to Thanatopsis. So either pick them right from the poem or pick them from your own comprehension. And so think about what the poem was about, and then you're going to reflect on it the same way. But you're going to do it one line at a time. Now, as with everything that I go through with you like this, I want you to put it in the back in a folder to be able to pull out if you ever have to write a poem for another class or in college, or you have to do some kind of a presentation and you want to do a cooler way to present the information. So don't use it for just this one assignment. Try to keep it in there in case you have to bust it out for a different assignment. So first you make sure you pick all of the 10 words that you want to use. Then you start to construct the poem, but you do that one line at a time. The deeper meaning of it is going to come out once the whole thing is done. And as I have experienced in the past, you might be one of those people that thinks this is the best way to write any poem, and maybe it introduces you into how easy it can be to write and how much you enjoy it, because you get to find out something about yourself at the end. So step 2 is just to write your first line, and it should end with one of the words you selected. So that's the hardest part, is just to get started. Just write a line. And there are only a couple constraints. This special note: each line must be between 5 and 9 syllables. So no fewer than 5 and no more than 9, so that you can keep the flow going. So whatever that first line is, it has to be at least 5 syllables, and it has to end with one of the words that you've selected. So all you're doing is writing that little tiny line of a poem. Once you've decided what word it ends with, it's pretty straightforward. Then you write line 2. So this is the line of the poem that starts with the last word of the first line. So whatever that first line ends with, that word starts your second line. Whatever word ends your second line is the first line of your next line. So again, you see that pattern. Ends with, begins with, ends with, begins with. Alright, so the last word of the first line. End the second line with another word from your list, and then you keep going with that pattern. So here's what it basically boils down to. The words you picked from or about Thanatopsis are the first and last words of each line. Each line must be between 5 and 9 syllables. So let's look at that example again. Turn the lights out now. Start the next line with now, because that's where you ended. Now I'll take you by the hand. So I have to start the next line with the word hand. And so these are kind of the only rules that you have to keep in mind, because you don't want to get wrapped up with what am I saying. You just want to go line by line, knowing I have to start with this word, I have to end with this word. So hand you another drink. So I have to start again with the word drink. Drink if you can. Start with can. Can you spend a little time? Time is slipping away from us, so stay with me, I can make make you glad you came. So you'll have one of the words that you've selected that you do not start another line with, that you just end the whole poem. So it doesn't matter what order you put them in, it just matters that as you have that list that you have written out, that you end and begin in that pattern that you see here. And so you'll be doing that with all 10 words that you selected from or about Thanatopsis, and it should be a reflection on the philosophy of William Cullen Bryant. Later, skater!